Hey everyone, welcome to episode 4 of Swan Valley Zoo. So in this episode we're going to be checking out the Cheetah exhibit that I've been working on over the last little while. So right in front of us is the main viewing building of it, so we'll go ahead and check that out now. So this building actually started looking completely different, and I scrapped it entirely because the first rendition it kind of looked like a car yard to me. It had these big floor to ceiling windows and just really wasn't working out, wasn't loving it, so I just scrapped the whole thing and then built this. This is inspired by, it was a winner, I think, or an entry into an architecture competition that was intended for a structure built in Africa. It was a school, I think, actually, or like a classroom built out of mud and all these really sustainable local resources. Obviously, I didn't take all of that inspiration for the building. I mean, the shape and this little accent wall you can see on the left are the main sort of takeaways from that, but way happier with this result. So really happy I started over, as difficult as that can be to do sometimes. I'm absolutely stoked that I did. So we'll head straight on inside. So straight up, are you ready to meet the fastest land animal in the world? So I use a lot of billboards in this build, you'll see, which is new for me, but I really like how it worked out. So I think I'm going to continue with a lot of that moving forward. So this is just, I mentioned in the first episode, that sort of like staging ground of the zoo when you first walk in. I love the idea of building that kind of anticipation and excitement for what you're about to see next at the zoo. I think that's a really sort of important loop of the visitor experience that is really enjoyable. And here we get a good look of the indoor viewing here. So we've got an individual sign for Kumeria, our female cheetah. So the layout of the cheetah exhibit is we've got two halves, two exhibits. They are connected by a slide, so they can be separated or connected as the zoo desires. We've got a female on the left, Kumeria, and then we've got Jahi on the other side, who we'll meet in a moment as well. So we have these implied font signs, which are by Lion. They're a workshop essential, if you ask me. They are absolutely amazing. So we've gone for quite a sort of hybrid of actual written information on the signage around here, and then also the implied font, which I'll talk a little bit more about a little bit more later. So there's Kumeria doing the little janky jump animation. So I was really happy with how these exhibits turned out, actually. The traversable area on them is great. They've got lots of open space for the animals to run around in, which obviously it's a cheetah. People want to see them run. They want to run. So it extends all the way around there as well. So the animals do have some privacy. They're not viewable in every location. I was really happy with how this viewing window worked as well. The angled viewing windows, I think, just look great. They're really good from a sort of logistics standpoint as well. It helps to avoid dust and dirt building up on the windows, particularly on the animal side of things, which is harder to clean as frequently, obviously. It also helps with glare as well by creating a bit of shadow with the overhang at the end, so viewing's nice and clean. So the viewing through this window is a lot better, actually, than for Jahi, because for that reason the sun hits the window on Jahi's side, so it's a bit glary, but that's just the reality of glass viewing, unfortunately, a lot of the time. So you can see all of Kumeria's exhibit. You can see her holding yard on the left there, and then the building, the brick structure there, are the cheetah dens, which we'll have a good look at in another part of the video. We've got a tour point here. No tour attached to it just yet. There will be once the area expands a bit bigger. These are working benches. There are actual in-game benches hidden underneath these little structures that we've built. So visitors do come in and sit on them as well. There's some more implied font signs from Lion. Up. It's another billboard just showing off some cheetah artwork, just to add some interest to the wall, basically. Quite like that style. All just found on Canva. All of the photo editing and stuff I do is on Canva, using Canva Pro. Here we have our main information sign. So this is actually 3 billboards stacked on top of each other. So on the bottom left is a square billboard which has the distribution and range map, which is taken from the Cheetah Conservation Fund, which is just, an organisation, obviously, that works for cheetah conservation out in the wild. The top right is a TV screen with just the in-game Zoopedia image is taken up there, and then the whole thing has a background which is a billboard as well with a custom. That's what the name and the scientific name, the conservation status, the wild population, and the Swan Valley Zoo logo on the bottom, that's all put onto one big billboard which sits at the back with everything else in front of it, including again those implied font signs by line. Here we have a donation bin, which is where visitors can choose to donate to the Cheetah Conservation Fund, the Australian branch there. So that logo is just lifted straight off their website. So I love this idea of the collaboration between zoos as a education and the animals in an ambassadorial role, and then also providing funding and support to these organisations like the Cheetah Conservation Fund that are actually supporting these animals in the wild where that conservation effort is really needed and is most effective. Security cameras, lights, just some interesting wall decorations, some vending machines as well. So yeah, I was really happy with how this interior worked out actually. Interiors can be quite difficult for me, they take a lot of time. They don't come super naturally. The actual exhibit building stuff, like the area you see outside, I whipped that together and felt like probably an hour, whereas this interior probably took me weeks. So, but really happy with how it worked out in the end. The layout, the movement of visitors through the area, I was really happy, yeah. Definitely very pleased with it. Hopefully you guys like it as well. So we'll turn around and head to the outdoor viewing area. So there's Jahi, our male cheetah. And then if we go to the left here, we have another little outdoor viewing spot that we can view part of Kamaria's exhibit 4. So I mentioned we've got the 2 exhibits. They do connect. There is this, you can see the perimeter fence right in front of us dividing the exhibits, but then right at the back, there is a slide, an operatable slide by the keepers that they can open and close to give the animals access to each other and to deny them access also. Here's the window, some more angled glass. There's Jahi running about. We've got another individual sign for him with some more implied font signs. The photos on the individual signs, excuse me, are obviously actually the animals in game. So that is little Jahi's face. Took a photo of and popped on a billboard and embedded it into there. Some wall decoration, some chairs, some bins, all little things you need. So yeah, again, really stoked with these exhibits. Trying to strike that balance of keeping them nice and open, but not just being a big swath of sand. So a little bit of terrain variation, sort of patches of grass around the place, a little bit of terrain paint variation as well makes a big difference. Yeah. Sweet. So that's pretty much the visitor facing side of things. There are some visitors. So yeah, really happy with this area. The lattice roofing and stuff, lots of nice detail. Really pleased with it. It's all usable. It's all path underneath it. The benches, the bins, all usable. The visitors do come around and use it. And then this is for, not yet to be built, but there will be an aviary for an African species of bird. I'll actually ask at the end of the video. I kind of want your guys' input on what species I should put in there. That'll be the next episode. So we'll pop up out of Explore Cam and have a little bit of an overlook of the visitor facing side of things. So there's our building. There's the 2 cheetah exhibits. And then at the back you can see their dens and their back of house, which we will move on to look at now. So here we are with our cheetah dens. So just some context on where they are positioned within the zoo. So this is our staff vehicle road that way extends down to the buffalo, zebra, giraffe back of house, and then right down the end you can see the Savannah restaurant. But then the main access point really for all of those spaces will actually be this long road that wraps around and then connects to the vet and quarantine areas and food store areas way back there in the distance. This way, cutting through the restaurant's kind of a bit awkward and closes it through would require closing a pretty main visitor thoroughfare, so I'd like to avoid using that really most of the time, and they take the long way around for accessing these spaces if needed with vehicles. But yeah, so here are our dens. So the setup for the dens, each exhibit has access to 2 dens and an external yard, and then all of those spaces are connected by a raceway. So we'll have a peek at Jahi's one over here. So there's a race that connects to the yard, the exhibit, and then into the 2 dens inside, and then there's an internal race that connects the dens as well. So we've got these sort of shade cloths up here. That's just to give the animals some extra privacy in the yards from the vehicle road, where there's going to be lots of staff movement and vehicle movement. Yeah, but we'll jump into explore mode and check out these interiors. So we have these little category 1 dangerous animal signs at the access points of the facility. So the yard doors, the staff door, and then the that little roller door over there, which is for a transport crate, which we'll check out in a moment. So category 1 is just a term for a dangerous animal, one that can cause serious harm to humans. I've probably gone overboard with the safety aspect for this cheetah setup. I've not got any experience with cheetahs. I've not seen cheetah back of house in person. So yeah, my understanding is they tend to be treated a little bit lighter in terms of safety compared to things like lions or tigers and leopards, jaguars, all those other scary big cats. Yeah, considered not quite so dangerous, but for the purposes of this zoo, we're pretty risk averse. I'm going to say we're going to treat them just as we would any other dangerous big cat. So we'll come on inside, just a bit of detailing externally, meter box, gutters, fences, wheelbarrows, all that sort of stuff. We'll head on inside. So messy back of house areas. That's just that's the nature of animal areas, I think. Straight away on our right, we've got a keeper hut, which is where the in-game keepers will prepare all the food. We've got some drying racks, some enrichment storage, some sinks, all sorts of stuff, crates, buckets, all the usual sticky notes on a chipboard. All of that. Whiteboard, important for communication. Here we have that exhibit slide that I mentioned earlier that connects the two displays. So if we were wanting to give the animals access to each other for breeding purposes, or say we only had one cheetah and wanted to give them access to the whole display, the keepers can operate this slide here. So they've got windows on either side, so they can make sure that no one's paw or tail is underneath the slide when they operate it, make sure no one gets crushed. And there's the slide handle to operate it as well. The cable runs through to connect there. There's the exhibit access doors. They do actually have the in-game keeper doors hidden in them, so the keepers do walk through there to access the exhibit. Some tools, all sorts of stuff. Yeah. Anyway, we'll head into Camaria's dens first. So coming straight in. Well, you can see there she is. We'll quickly duck over just to see her in the dens. So the animals do all of the den spaces, the yards, the raceways, everything is all traversable area. I do use the Planet Zoo Plus mod. I can't praise it enough. It reduces the animal hitboxes so they're the same as the baby versions of whatever animal it is. These interior spaces that I make for all of my builds would not be possible without the mod. They would not be traversable without the mod. So absolutely a requirement for me. So there's Camaria. We'll take a step back and check out the dens properly. So looking around, we can see you've got all the slide handles, all those bright colors. We've got two dens, one den on the left. We've got an internal raceway in the middle, which has inbuilt scales. And then we've got the other den, including a cubbing den as well in that space. So if Camaria was to have cubs, she would have access inside that much smaller, much more secure, much darker space where she could be comfortable to give birth and to nurse her young. Then we also have a transport crate here. That's where that roller door at the back comes into action. So the animals can access the transport crate, and then the transport crate can be picked up by a forklift, most likely, and then taken outside, excuse me. So the transport crate is built by me. It is on the workshop. I'll link it in the description. It may look a little bit small compared to the animal, but for transport crates, you actually really want them to not be that much bigger than the size of the animal. So you want the animal to have pretty limited movement when they're inside the crate. It sounds counterintuitive, it sounds a bit mean, but the risk of the animal flipping on its side or tumbling or, getting sort of cramped in some really dangerous way is really, really high risk. So for the purposes of transport, you want that animal to be really snug and not a whole lot of movement actually possible for them. So that's why the size is what it is. Yes, they have access for forklift, all of that. So we'll check it out. There's some skylights as well. So animals can actually be, for many reasons, be required to be locked indoors for quite extensive periods of time. So giving them access to some natural light is really important just for the welfare of that animal for any amounts of time that they do have to be closed inside the dens. Alright, so we'll check out the slide setup. So you've got your green and blue slides are for internal, what we call internal slides. So the green slides there operate the access into the external raceway. The dark and light blue are for either side of the internal raceway, which has the scales in it. This green slide here connects to that green one. And then these ones, the yellow and red, they're your danger colors because these are the highest risk slides. So they access to the exhibit and to the yard. Red is for exhibit slides and yellow is for the yard slides. So you don't want to operate a slide unless you can see where it is, the risk of you crushing an animal is way too high. So these slides you cannot see from in here. You can't look out through the slides and see, or those slides might be closed, whatever. So to counteract that, we've got a little interactive screen here that the keepers would be able to look at while they're operating the slide. So the red slide here is open, you can see on the screen. If we wanted to close it, we could make sure that Kamaria isn't underneath the slide, or a tail or anything isn't underneath the slide, and you could safely close that. And then the yellow slide is in the up position, it's closed, and you can see on that little screen there, the yellow slide is down and closed. Yeah, so we've got all the windows are reinforced with the mesh as well, which again for cheetahs is probably excessive. But yeah. The dens. We've got the drains in the middle, you've got your safety marking as well. The idea is that this is as far as the animal could reach by putting their paw or whatever underneath the mesh. So as long as you're behind the yellow lines, you should be safe by all means. Yeah, the scale interface is just a custom billboard on, again, it's a memorial plaque, I'm pretty sure. Alright, so there's Kamaria's dens. Yeah, a little view inside the keeper hut as well, which I always find cool. We'll come inside. Excuse me, I got a bit of a sore throat, so you have to apologize. I have to apologize for all the coughing. Here's Jahi's den, so the male's dens. So same, we've got the two den spaces, an internal slide with the scales built in. Jahi doesn't have a coving den, obviously, because he's a boy. So he just has 2 den spaces available there. Same thing, you've got the yellow danger tape. You've got the slides operating the same thing, blues for the internal scale slides, greens for the access to the raceway. And then we've got our exhibit and yard slides as well. So Jahi, I have them both open. And you can see yellow, the yard slide is closed. Open, sorry. And then red, the exhibit slide is open there as well. So yeah, so Jahi's exhibit is a little bit smaller, so I figured the keepers would probably want to give him access to his yard at all times, just so he has a bit more space. So that's why yellow is open there. Excuse me, I'm just going to take a drink. Here we go. Save you guys listening to my raspy voice no more than you have to. Again, we've got some fans just for circulation, skylights for that natural light, all that good stuff. Yeah, keeper access doors, feeding chutes there, water dishes that you can just slide under the mesh. There's a little bit of leeway there. But yeah, really happy with how these dens turned out. They're super visually noisy, but that's just animal dens. It's mesh on mesh on mesh. But they really do the job. I think they're enough realism that I'm happy with, and they are operational. I can grab the slides and close them if I want to, role play, giving the animals access to different areas or whatever. But yeah, it's all functional, which is super cool. So we'll duck back down. One more little look through all the spaces. Very cool. You'll see again, it's a red slide for the exhibit slide, for that one that connects the 2 spaces. Yeah. So those are the dens. Very happy with them. There's a vet and a keeper coming to check in. We'll go have a little look at the outside of the dens and a bit more of just a look around, really. Once my Q&E keys work for me. It's a very annoying bug I have where the like vertical strafing keys don't work for me. Normally hitting escape makes it work, but apparently not today. We'll just go the slow way around. So here's the top. You can see we've got the skylights, we've got the vents, we've got solar panels. Obviously, zoos always a keen interest in sustainability. So any renewable energy options that we have, there we go, our button's fixed, sorry about that. Always taking the opportunity, for some renewable energy options, and a flat roof, big flat roof is a great spot for that. Yeah, so here's the raceway from the outside. Those internal screens that view the slide, so these little cameras there. So that's what gives the keepers, visibility of those when they need to. There we go. You've got gates that access from the outside for vehicle access, and then another internal gate if you ever needed to get vehicles onto display. There's a slide that connects them. And again, on Jahi's side, the 2 layers of gates. Oh, that's what I wanted to mention. You can see these cables. So I actually ran the cables to the slides, which is just a level of detail that was annoying, but I went for it anyway. So you can see here, the yellow slide there goes up to the roof. and the cables run along the roof, all the way along the roof, and then connect to that one. And that goes for all the slides. They all have cables that connect the handle to the physical slide that they operate. So fun little bit of detail. But yeah, there we are. So, sorry, really apologize for my voice, guys. I'm reaching the end of my limit, obviously, so I better wrap up the video. So yeah, this is our cheetah area. So our 2 dens. Hopefully, one day we have the facilities to breed these animals, so maybe in the future that's something we'll do. We'll have some little cheetah cubs running around, some little baby Kamari and Jahis. So yeah, you've got the visitor building there. You've got all the visitors viewing the animals. Really happy with how that turned out. Really like the view of it from the outside. Obviously, this is just a little exclusion area right in front of us, so the animals can't get right up to where the visitors don't have a solid barrier like glass. Yeah. So there we are. We'll give a little overview of the whole area. Really happy with how this one turned out. Hope you guys like it as well. I worked on it for quite a while, but yeah, really fun. First carnivore exhibit actually that I've done in Planet Zoo, which is ridiculous for how long I've played the game, but yeah, let me know how you guys felt about the build. Hopefully you liked it. Any ideas, any adjustments? I'm always happy to improve these things, iterate and reiterate upon them, make them as good as they can be. Yeah, happy days. Thanks for watching, everyone. Before I let you go, a couple questions. So this aviary here I want to build for an African bird species. I've got 2 options you can see on the sign there. So southern ground hornbill was one of them. Just a really cool species. The other one is a Cory bustard. I'll put pictures of both of them up on the screen now. I've worked with Australian bustards, and they are just fantastic little birds. I've got a really, really soft spot for bustards, and Cory bustards are just the African species of them. They're awesome little birds, but yeah, both of them very cool. Give me your opinion. Which one do you think would fit in this aviary? They both are, in terms of environment, pretty similar. So in terms of theming and all that, should be pretty close. But yeah, let me know what you think. And then this way as well, we'll finish up this area for the aviary video. I'll make sure all of this is done, and we'll wrap up this whole area and then move on. In terms of the next area, we can either continue with Africa. I'm thinking of actually making a start on my Australia section as well. So there we go. Give me your opinion. See what you want to see. Again, thank you very much, everyone. Apologize for the voice. I really wanted to get this video out. Hopefully the raspiness isn't too annoying. But thank you for putting up with it, and thank you for watching. And yeah, thank you very much. Said thank you about 1,000,000 times, but yeah. Enjoy, guys. Cheers. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.